Okay. Oh, is it going?
Yeah, it's gone.
Oh. So I am Emma Schmidt, and I'm a certified sex therapist.
Today's vlog is a little bit more on the serious side. It is a Q&A, and we got this question over an Instagram message, and the person who asked it requested to remain anonymous, so we're not even going to share the original question. The bottom line is her husband was looking at porn, and she kind of caught him. He doesn't know this, but she saw his phone. And she says that in the past they've looked at porn together, but now they have an agreement or a rule, is how she phrases it, that they no longer should look at it. That's what they've decided. But he did. So what to do about that? My heart just broke when I read this story, because I can imagine how that feels to like walk in on somebody when you think things aren't a certain way, and then you find this out.
Seems like the most troubling thing, at least to her, was that he kept this information from her because they had agreed to talk about it. I know for a lot of other people, it's even just the fact that their partner looked at porn, period, especially for like religious people, that it's really, that's almost as troubling, if not more troubling, than the secret itself.
It's real easy to take something like this personally and to think, oh, I'm not good enough, or our sex life isn't good enough, or this person's cheating on me. Mm-hmm. And I guess that could be how porn is used or seen, you know, and I don't want to take that completely off the table, but I think most of the time, I don't know how else to say it, but it's not about you. And I think this is about almost all things that even we categorize as sin or behaviors. When I look at porn, it's not because you're not good enough. Porn is almost a separate thing, and I'm not going to say it doesn't impact our sex life and our relationship, but I don't look at it because of you. I would look at it no matter which girl I was with, or if I wasn't a girl, or with a girl, or with 10 girls.
I've come a long way with this. I think I used to shame Ben because I felt a lot of shame around sexuality in general, but especially porn. What really helps me is I actually see it as if I had like a cake and I was like, oh, this is my cake and I'm gonna eat this cake and I'm not gonna let Ben know about the cake, and I'm gonna go to the cake for comfort, for security, for satisfaction. I really see a lot of parallels for why, at least I know for Ben, why he turned to porn. I turned to sweets. And I think that's really downplayed. I think porn is seen as this like way worse thing than like going to food to get those same needs met in a way. Now, I know there's a sexuality component to it, which is different in some respects, but there are a lot of similarities. Fire's not big enough yet. Yeah, there you go.
We're kind of just using this as an excuse to ramble about a topic that's been really important to us. But actually, the tone of this Instagram user was not very judgmental at all. In fact, it was really, I think, cool and admirable. Mm-hmm. She was just asking what to do.
Yeah.
So I would say that a violation has occurred. This is something you guys agreed to, and he's sneaking around and going behind your back. I would say that that's a bummer, and you have every right to be bummed out. I don't know of a better thing to do than to just kind of like say that. Mm-hmm. To say, hey, I was on your phone, and Cammy's cake example might be helpful because I think it's less loaded and charged than porn. So if I was to say, hey, I was spying on you the other day, and I noticed you were sneaking cake, and we agreed not to, and I'm worried because, first of all, maybe that was my cake, or I think you're going to die sooner. But also you violated this agreement that we had. And then we talk about ourselves, like, that bums me out, that makes it hard for me to trust you, that confuses me, like I don't know what else you're doing behind my back, it causes me to distrust you, and anything else that you are feeling. I actually think it's your duty to share that, and it's what makes this man more of a man and a better husband and a better partner.
I wonder too if there needs to be a little bit of a, hey, sorry for going behind your back and like getting into your phone, because I think that violates trust too.
Yeah,
I mean,
think
even
so.
though he was the one that violated trust first, there was like, it happened. It's basically both people did it.
Two wrongs don't make it right.
Yeah. You know, if I was in her place, I think I would need to say, hey, I found some porn on your phone. If I had suspicions, I should have just come out and talked to you about it instead of like doing research and going behind your back. Sorry about that. Okay, now let's talk about, you know, because I think that's important too, because I think he's going to feel violated too, and maybe not even feel like he could even say it, that he feels violated, because there's such this like charged porn conversation going on.
I think the next thing to evaluate is the agreement, the rule, and to find out why it was violated. A lot of times people feel pressured to live up to rules that are other people's. And I think this can be true about porn. I think this can be true about cake or anything else. It's not helpful to get someone to agree to something, whether they're addicted or not, just to try and make you happy, unless they actually believe in it themselves.
In our marriage, we have found, feel like we found me on the, okay, I'll just agree to this, and then I end up violating our agreement, and I realized that I never really wanted to agree with it to begin with, and that's why I ended up violating it.
So it can like modify behavior for a short amount of time, but it causes sneaking, and it doesn't cause us to address the real hard issues behind things.
Right.
Which is, why does he want to look at porn? Is he running from something? Is he just enjoying it? Is there something unsatisfactory, or he's not getting out of the relationship? And I'm not saying it's your fault. Like, I want to be clear about that. Like, it's not a fair linkage. But there are correlations, I think, as to why we do what we do. It
merits a conversation, I think, between the two people.
I'm also not just making an excuse, but if we don't understand the root drive behind this, I don't think we stand a chance at getting help or fixing it.
Yeah.
I do like the tone of your question, and I like how it was phrased, bent towards like the agreement versus just shaming someone for, like, it's easy to be like, oh, that guy's a pervert. He's looking at like who knows what on the internet. I don't know. That I've never seen that work very well. So the craziest thing happened today. We met with a sex therapist for lunch because this lady that we kind of had heard of recognized us in Mexico, like in the airport, and then reached out to us after we got back, and I'm like, we need to grab lunch. So we went out to lunch, and we actually asked her what she thought about this topic. Her name is Emma. I think she's pretty cool. This is what she said.
When you find that your partner has been looking at porn, one thing that can happen is a shift in the brain to feel like I've caught them in the act of doing something, and that feels incredibly painful or hurtful sometimes. Anxiety can start to increase, the level and quality of life starts to go down when you haven't disclosed a secret that you know to your partner. So I always encourage you to go to your partner and say, hey, I was investigating in your phone. These are the reasons why maybe I was looking on your phone or your computer or your email. I had some suspicions, and these were the suspicions that I was going through. Can we just talk about what was going on and maybe what was leading you to look at them instead of coming to me or to ask me if it was okay, or why we wouldn't do it together, or what's leading you to that area? If you're not talking about it, you're going to be thinking about it and you're going to be wondering, and I can imagine what if experiences you're probably going to keep investigating to find out is there more stuff. So I think it's important to sit down and just talk about it right away. It's going to be uncomfortable, and what we find is that sometimes it's not completely forthcoming at first, but at least starting to have a conversation and figuring out how can we talk about this? What are our values around this? What are my thoughts around what I'm experiencing based on finding it? And how do we want to move forward from here? When porn is in use and it's being hidden, there's something else going on, meaning what about the sex life do you guys need to talk about? What about the relationship do you guys need to talk about? What about the stress life in your all's experience is happening that could be leading to engaging in secrets? And why are the secrets there really?
So what about people that are like, you say we could incorporate it, and there's people, no way, I'm not willing to incorporate it. I just need to get them to stop.
One, is that realistic? Does the partner want to stop? And if you are wanting them to stop, but that's not in their repertoire of what they're looking for, then that can create some discrepancy within the relationship. In thinking about trying to get your partner to stop, I would want to have that conversation with them to find out if you're wanting to watch porn, but I don't feel comfortable with you watching porn, what are our other options? Like, how can we be creative and moving forward sexually? And what does that look like? And why do I feel strongly about that, and how can I communicate that to you as a partner? But I also want to hear why porn is important to you. And so being able to sit and try and come from a non-judgmental place and be in a experience of being open and listening and hearing what your partner has to say, because if they feel judged by you or shamed by you or feel like you're just going to shut them down, they're probably not going to be open.
You said come at it from a non-judgmental perspective.
Yeah.
But I think for most people, porn is the easiest thing on the planet to judge because it's so clearly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So like, how do you come across it from a non-judgmental perspective if you believe this is like a sin?
We all sin though, right? It's hard not to look at you all. So we all have our own sins, but there are degrees. There's a spectrum of where that falls to. So if I come at somebody and I say, hey, I just want to understand where you're coming from, and they say, I just need to get away, and this helps me relax, and this helps me have a release, like, I'm being non-judgmental and hearing why you're looking at porn, and to hear that you have a release. Okay, that helps me understand like why that's important to you or why that feels good. If I'm putting myself in those shoes, I would have a hard time just sitting and listening too, because I have emotions coming up. So if you can put my emotions aside to be there, just listen and hear, it's going to give me a lot of information about why they're interested in what they're interested in.
So you gotta be willing to be looking for information then, versus just making a point, I guess.
You got to be willing to be open-minded and hear what your partner's hearing and not interpret your anger and your frustration. And I mean, that's challenging, right? It's difficult. Mm-hmm. You're trying to enter into a territory that's very vulnerable, and so you're trying to ask somebody, why are you interested in the sexual act? Well, if you're coming at me in an attacking type way, I'm probably not going to tell you, because that's super vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not going to allow you to get to my core and attack my core. So I can only do that if we're sitting down and we're able to have an open conversation. But I also have to acknowledge that I'm hurt, and how can I say that? How can I say, oh, this hurt me. I feel like it's an attack to my identity or to me. But if you're able to get to a point where you can hear them say those things like, I'm looking for more creativity, or I'm looking for more adventure, or I miss this piece of us, and being able to work from that place is going to be so productive. This is one of the trickiest experiences in relationships, finding something and then how do I bring it up, and it's a scary place to bring up. Maybe I don't even know how to have a conversation because I haven't been modeled that. Sitting down and saying, I don't know how to talk to you about this. It's important to me, and I might not do it right, but I think it's important to at least start somewhere. That's a good place to be. I might not use the right words, but I at least want to start somewhere. And I'm going to try and sit here and be honest and open and not judgmental, but I also feel hurt, and so some of my pain might come out, and I'm sorry about that too.
Wow.
I'm human.
That's cool. That's why we need sex therapists.
Sorry, I diverged from.
Wow.
All right. This is really a hard topic, you guys. Thanks for listening and being open to some different ideas and conversations about this. Best wishes to whoever sent this Instagram message. I really hope this goes well. I know this is very hard, and I hope you hang in there. There's no easy way out of this. You know, I think a lot of times people think, oh, we'll make a rule that says no porn, and then we're done with that. We'll move on. But, you know, I thank God for our experiences with even sexual deviancy, because they've revealed what's deeper down in our heart and our relationship, and I think they've made it better and deeper. But it's taken a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's getting a little chilly out, but we are going to ride our bikes and still go on a date. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready.